everybody, it's Keren here from tuppencecoloured.co.uk. Thank you very much for joining me today. This is today's project. It's a shaker card, and these are lots and lots of fun to get and lots of fun to make. And if you stay with me, I will show you how I made this one. These are the things that I'm using to make my card today. I'm using brushwork alphabet, this stamp from Lovely as a Tree. I'm using the word Christmas from Holly Jolly Greetings. And I've used this stamp from Pretty Kitty, and I've stamped her onto a shimmering white card, coloured her in, and I've fussy cut her out, so she's going to be on my card. This is a piece of This Christmas DSP, and it is 3.5 by 5.25 inches. And I have a piece of cherry cobbler, which is 4 inches by 5 3/4. I'm using this die set, which is the window, Christmas window dies. I have a piece of shimmering white card, which is big enough to fit behind that window and a little bit left over. I've die cut my window frame out of garden green card. I have a piece of window sheet which fits behind the panes of my window, and I've got some scraps of garden green and mint macaron, which I've die cut out with the Pretty Pines die set. So lots and lots of elements going on here. I'm also using lots and lots of different colours of ink today. I'm using always artichoke, cherry cobbler, soft sky, and marina mist. The other things that I'm using are the white mica flakes and the garden green enamel shapes from the Regal set. Got my two shades of blue. I've got the soft sky and marina mist, and I've got my sponge roller and my piece of shimmering white. And I'm going to start by giving shimmering white a coat of soft sky. I'm using a stamp mat, I'm using a sponge mat. Now it will look as though there isn't very much ink on your roller, but trust me, there's more there than you think there is. And what I have on there is going to be ample for my card, and I'm just going to roll across, and I'm going to put the soft sky all across my card. And if you get lines, streaks, just keep going. And you can, if you've got a sponge mat like mine, you can put your ink on the sponge mat, or you can just ink your roller up directly from the stamp pad, whichever you prefer. Now in the pack you get 4 sponges, you get 2 handles and 4 sponge rollers, and they wash really well. They come up really beautifully when you just wash them in a little bit of soapy water. And now I've got the marina mist, and I'm not going to cover all of my card with marina mist. I'm going to keep it towards the top of the card. And I'm just going to darken off those top areas, and just round the side here. Okay, so I'm quite happy with that. Now I've got my always artichoke ink. I'm going to open that one up, and I have my my nice big fir tree from Lovely as a Tree already mounted on my block, and I'm just going to push this over slightly to one side and slightly down, because I want this part to appear in the window. I'm not really bothered about the rest of it. Oops, that rocked. I hope I got away with that. Yes, just about. That works beautifully. I'm going to put the DSP onto the cherry cobbler card, and I'm going to use Fast Fuse to do it, because that's what I happen to have handy. Snail would work just as well for this. And I can take my time about lining this up, because with Fast Fuse, once it's down, it is down. Okay, so that's how I like it. Right, now I'm going to bring in the frame that I've die cut, and I'm going to line this up onto the card where I want it to be, and I'm just going to mark the corners of the windows. Okay, because this bit is what I'm going to cut away. Next step is to cut that out, and I want to be able to see my lines a bit more clearly, so I've got my ruler and I'm just going to line that up, and I'm just going to make that line a bit clearer, because the light in here isn't very good. Now filming in the evening, and daylight was over long ago. So again, just lining up basically so that I can see them, I can see where they end, and I've overshot the runway a bit there, so I'm going to rub that away. Sorry about the table bouncing there. And the same thing here. Whoops. And again, I've overshot the runway. I'm going to clear that away. Right, so now I'm going to bring in my craft knife, and I'm going to cut just outside those lines that I've made. So I've got the 1/8 line on my craft ruler here up against those marks, and I'm cutting away. I'm being careful not to cut too much. When you're working with a craft knife, it's always better to make 2 light cuts rather than 1 heavy one, because that way it's much less likely that the knife will slip, and if it slips you may ruin your work, and you wouldn't want to do that, would you? Okay, how's that looking? It's not too bad. So I'm going to get my snips, and I'm just going to finish off those edges. Cut those pieces away. Now I'm going to put the frame onto my card, and I'm going to do that by just putting a little bit of my Tombow wet glue. I don't know if you can hear noises off, but my neighbours have got their TV on very loud tonight. So we will do the old reduced background noise in iMovie, but I'm not sure how well that's going to work. So I do apologise if you can hear. Oh, and there goes my email. Fantastic. Wonderful. Alright. Let me bring this in, keeping my gluey fingers out of the way, putting this where I would like it to be, nice and straight. Alright. And I've got my my piece of window sheet here, and I'm going to put that on with tape. my tearing tape. So take the backing off the tear and tape. And we'll get the window sheet. And we'll apply that to the front of the card. And this is just a bit of sponge that I keep my piercing tool in to stop it rolling around the table. There we go. Almost done with this part. I'm just going to bring in my cheeky little kitty cat, and I'm going to just put a tiny spot of glue on each of her paws, and she's standing on the windowsill just like that. Just like my little madam does. Right. And now I'm going to put that to one side for the glue to set up and to work on the next part of the card. It's going to be easier to decorate the front of the card while it's still flat before I put the shaker tape on. So I'm going to get on with that. Now I've had a piece of Very Vanilla and I've stamped the word Meowie, if that is even a word, it is now, onto that piece of Very Vanilla, and I've cut it out with the banner punch that's in the same set as the window frame. And as you will see, the M and the Y have been cut off, but I stamped the M and the Y twice, and oh, this is cherry cobbler, by the way, I should have said that. Also on a bit of Very Vanilla, and I'm now going to put them on top of the corresponding part of the banner. The other thing I did was I got a pencil and I just sketched in the lines there to make my banner look a bit more dimensional. And I'm just going to use another email. I really should turn that off. Never mind. Okay, and the same thing with the letter Y. Okay. And just line that into place. I tried all sorts of ways to get this to look the way I wanted to. And this is what is working best for me. So I'm just going to make sure that that is lined up properly so that everything that I want to be covered up is covered up. And the same here. Okay, and I've also got the word Christmas, which is stamped from the Holly Jolly Greetings, and that's also on another scrap of the Very Vanilla. So let me put those aside just for a moment and bring back my card front and the bits of foliage that I cut out. Now I know it seems as though I'm using an awful lot of different supplies for this, and I'd be quite honest, I usually do my best to keep the number of supplies and different sets and so forth that I use. I do try to keep them to a minimum. Because it's quite, the Stampin' Up items are, well, I think they're good value, but they're still, they still cost a bit. There's still a cost associated with purchasing them, and you can't buy everything. But in this case, I had bits and pieces and odds and ends that I had left over from previous projects, and I just did not want to waste them. So sorry guys. So I'm just going to put some pine wreaths in here and here. There we go. I did think about putting on the inside, because this is going to say Meowy Christmas, and I did think inside of putting the Bella the dog, and putting the message and a Yappy New Year or a Puppy New Year, depending on how you want to do it. But this video is going to be long enough as it is. But if you wanted to do that, be my guest. Okay, and some dimensionals, I think. Just a couple. I really love dimensionals. They're just right. They're just the right thickness, and the hexagonal shape to me is absolutely genius because there's nothing wasted, but you can get into all of those little places that you want to. Okay, so there's the Meowy. Right, let's bring in the Christmas, and I'm just going to snip into the ends here. And the neighbour's TV is very loud tonight. They're not usually this loud. Right, so what do you think? Dimensionals? Yes, I think dimensionals. It's going to have to be the edge strips, because otherwise that will be just a little bit too skinny for the dimensionals. So we got Meowy Christmas. I did sponge around the edge of that with a little teeny tiny bit of Sahara sand, and it literally was what was left on the sponge dauber. I didn't re-ink the dauber at all. I just wanted to give it a little bit of shadow. Right. One last touch. I have the garden green enamel shapes, and I'm going to use the little dots. I'm going to put one at either end. And there you go. I'm going to work on the shaker panel now, and I don't know whether you can see it, but I have gone with my clear Wink of Stella pen, and I have just touched the branches of the tree with some of the Wink of Stella, so that it's got a bit of a glittery, frosty feel to it. I have my foam strips, and I'm going to put these all around the edge of my card. I'm just going to make sure that there are no gaps. Alright, don't want any gaps at all, because it is amazing how the tiniest little gap, and it is amazing what can get through it. Particularly if you're using glitter. To be honest, if I was using glitter, I would be overlapping the around the edges of my tape to make sure that it didn't go anywhere. But because I'm using the mica flakes, they're a bit bigger, and so they are less inclined to go to wherever it is you want them to. Okay. Oh, less inclined to go wherever it is you don't want them to. See, this is what happens when I try to talk and concentrate on what I'm doing at the same time. It never ends well. I don't know what the matter with me is. There we go. Okay, so I've got a little gap there. So I'm just going to cut a snippet of tape, and I'm just going to stick that on the outside. We're not worrying that it's going to overshoot the edge, because it's all going to be stuck down anyway. Let me just check the rest of it. The rest of it I think is okay. Stampin' Buddy. Now before I take the backing tape off, I'm rubbing the edges with my Stampin' Buddy. Alright. And I'm also going to put a little tiny bit, not too much, but just a little tiny bit on the back of the window sheet, because that will reduce the static cling. Here's my mica flakes, and I'm just going to put just a small amount, not too much, into the centre of my backer here, and I'm going to take off the backing tape. I'm going to be very careful to try not to throw the mica all over the house, because that would not be good. So it is a little bit less, I suppose, less pervasive than glitter, because glitter gets everywhere. And I've got a project coming up that is going to be using glitter. So that'll be fun. Right, so I'm going to line up, get that straight and get that straight, and press down and press down firmly. And now there's my shaker card. There's a snowstorm going on outside. Woohoo! Alright, so just to finish the card off, I'm going to put some more of the tape along the top and the bottom, just like this. Yep, that should do it. And I've got my my card backer. Can't think of the word. My card. Can't think of the word. Card base. That's the word. Oh, it's evening. You can probably tell, and my brain has clocked off for the day. Been an exciting week in work. I shan't bore you with the details, but it has been, and my head has decided to go into the shed. Oops, I can see a little bit of white tape showing there, and I wish I'd noticed it before I took the backing off, but never mind. And now this is exactly the same size as the card base, because the card base is from a piece of card which I've cut to 4 inches by 11.5 and folded at 5 3/4. And there is my cheeky little Christmas cat. Here's my finished card, and I do hope that you've enjoyed this project, and if so, then please do comment, like and share. You can visit my blog and my Facebook page. Details are underneath this video, and you can also get hold of the supplies I've used from my online Stampin' Up shop, and again there is a link below this video. I will be posting more projects very, very soon, but for now, thank you very much for joining me, and I hope I'll see you again. Bye bye.